We're out here at Glen Helen. It's been an absolutely unbelievable experience, especially coming off of last year's Electric Motocross World Championship to this year's. It has grown what feels like 5 times in comparison to last year, and the industry just keeps pushing. So we're out here doing a ton of racing today, pushing ourselves, the machines, everything to the absolute limit. This is one of the coolest events that you can possibly do all year so far for Electric. I can't wait for next year's event, but let's take you guys through everything that happened this year.
As Saturday morning rolled around, athletes, spectators, and vendors came from all across the U.S. out to Glen Helen Raceway in California. Thanks to Travis at CRC Motorsports, we were able to get this venue dialed in for some electric racing, and as athletes made some last-minute changes to their bikes, the crowd was anticipating one of the most wild classes yet, the Midsized Open Electric. This is a class where full modified electric dirt bikes come to play. This class has a cash purse and is filled to the brim with incredible athletes, but before we get to that, we've got a lot more racing ahead of us, and first and foremost, let's dive into practice.
Good morning, everybody. I'm here with my teammate Brett Baldwin. We're going to get into Motocross World Championships. Come take a couple of laps with us through practice. We're going to have a blast.
What's going on, everybody? Max Beaupre here. Going to run you through a little bit of a course preview. So as you can see, I'm starting down the straight here, ripping a wheelie. That was pretty cool. Into the first left of the actual track. Right out of this left, you got a couple of rollers. You can either double or roll through. The EBMX powertrain was allowing me to double them because I had so much power. This turn was sick. You could kind of fade left onto the wall as the track started getting faster. A couple of small little tables, nothing super scary at all. Into this like tiny little step up. Bit of a flat here, and then this thing was pretty sick because you could like launch it as deep as you wanted onto this next flat. And then another little uphill. Into this tight right turn. Then after this right, there was this crazy downhill, like little step down skipper thing right there. Then you're like ripping downhill, little step down. This is my sight lap, so I'm just taking it easy. This jump was pretty cool. You could turn up pretty hard off of it. It was a little wet back there. They like the water out there, Glen Helen. This outside rut was sick until it blew out. Pretty gnarly inside started developing in that left. It was really hard linking that left into that right. It was pretty loose, so it was hard to keep traction. Wide open straight into this thing. Almost jumped off the track because I forgot there was a 180 turn there. Then you got this little downhill into this sick step down. You could launch this thing pretty much all the way until you got back into the track. Then you had a technical little right-hand turn there. Now we're back into the track. That was a bit of a course preview of my sight lap for the 2025 Electric Motocross World Championships.
Now that you've seen a lap of the course, let's take you through the classes that'll be competing today. Starting off with a 6 to 8 kilowatt class, we've also got a 12 to 16 kilowatt class, a 20 to 28 kilowatt class, and then the mid-size open electric. After that, you've got the full-size open electric, and we've also introduced the old codger class. This is a class for men 40 and older that still want to go out and earn some money. So let's get into the highlights of racing. To kick things off, we had the 6 to 8 kilowatt class, and this was a stacked gate in both the beginner and the advanced classes. There was a lot of mayhem going on, a lot of bar banging, a lot of pile-ups, and some broken bikes as everybody battled for the lead out on this course. The 6 to 8 kilowatt course was cut down so they would not go up the big hill that the more advanced and faster bikes would go up, but the racing was still just as intense when it came to trying to push these bikes to the limit. This is a class that is all about maintaining your momentum and praying for the best. If you get a good start, half the race is done for you. Moving on to the 12 to 16 kilowatt class, this is where you would start to see a lot of modified bikes come out to play. It was incredible to see so many awesome riders, so much talent and so many cool builds come out to join this race. Both the beginner and the advanced class were stacked with competitors, and it was a ton of fun to watch these guys duke it out for the lead. And this is the 20 to 28 kilowatt class. This is a class full of competitors that are on extremely modified bikes, and it was insane to see them out here ripping. We had athletes like Trevor Stewart out here on an Alta Sigma. It was built to the moon and ready for racing. The Pendelectric, CRC, Motorsports, Arctic Leopards were also in this class, and they were absolutely on fire. There were some pretty amazing battles in both Moto 1 and Moto 2 in this class, and a hard-fought win for the team Mayhem Racing. And next on the roster is the full mod open mid-size electric class. Let's take you through this race from my personal POV.
Good racing.
see Ginger in action.
A disappointing end to an extremely hard-fought battle with Trevor Stewart, but that's the world of racing. I crashed 24 hours prior to this and created a problem within my bike that I wasn't able to catch. But let's continue this race out with Max Beaupre's POV to see it to the end. A well-deserved win after a hard-fought battle for Trevor Stewart, who ended up sweeping both money classes on the day. Riley Dickerson coming in second place, who was by far one of the most stylish riders on course. Max Beaupre walked away with third after a last lap pass on Jet Underwood. Jet put on a performance all day in multiple classes, so it was awesome to see the rider from Electric Cycle Rider out there. But there's still more racing ahead of us, so let's check out the stacked gate of Electro & Co. pit bikes. It was extremely fun watching adults and kids battle it out on mini bikes. There was so much good racing this year for the 2025 Electric Motocross World Championship. I'm not able to cover all of it. You have to be there in person to see it. There was also some incredible racing from the Stark Vard class, the full-size open electric. These boys were absolutely on rails out there all day. Hopefully you guys enjoyed watching this recap of the racing. Thank you to all the sponsors, all the vendors, all the spectators, and all the riders for coming out and making this what it is. Once again, a huge shout out to Travis at CRC Motorsports for organizing a lot of the racing that happened here at this event. And also a huge thank you to Devin Alpanian and his team with O2 Projects for filming the entire coverage of this race. All this footage is his, and we appreciate him for being out there making this happen. There was so much good racing, way more than I was able to cover in this, but you just had to be there, and we hope to see you next time.